No? You want to tell me why?
Eh?
Do you want to tell me why?
Well,
Let me ask you a couple of questions, will that do? What about somebody kicking a dog? What do you think of that?
no,
Good or bad?
bad,
What about bullfighting, fox hunting, stuff like
Bad.
that? Bad?
inhumane.
Inhumane?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you the most important one. What about taking an animal into a slaughterhouse, hang them upside down, cut their throat, turn them into a burger?
Well, there's a line drawn, I believe. It's sort of like an ideology forced where people accept it,
Yeah.
but at the same time, people do eat meat,
I know.
but it's been going on since,
I'm not here to judge you, man, by the way. I used to eat it myself too,
No,
all the
of
time. I used to wear leather, I used to wear fur. No, I never wore fur, but I would have wore wool, animal products.
Oh, yeah.
And then I found some information. And it totally changed my whole mind. Well, my mindset was that I loved animals anyway, as probably do you, and you would never harm an animal yourself.
No.
But to the animal, to the victim, whether it be a pig, a chicken, or a cow, or a sheep, or a dog, what's the difference? What's the difference morally? Not from what you've been taught since you were a child. What would you say the difference is?
Morally, I think that animals are sort of bred to be mass-produced for consumer goods such as meats and, to set the table, But, I don't know.
What
There's no
if you
real
could just eat something else instead, or wear something else instead,
like a
which is
subproduct or an alternative?
yeah. So, well, you don't even have to eat an alternative. You can eat. So let's say sausages, for example, are bacon. Okay. Do you know how we kill pigs in this country?
Yeah, they're gas underground.
Yeah.
Methane.
Yeah. No, it's CO2. It's not methane. It's CO2. It's carbon dioxide. So it's like suffocation. I've been there and watched it, man. It's horrendous.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely horrendous. So if you can eat a Linda McCartney's vegan sausage instead, or Co-op or Sainsbury's all do their own brands, and there's numerous different ones, and they all taste pretty much the same, if not better, then what would the justification in paying somebody to throw pigs into gas chambers?
Probably, I'd have to say
I'd say none.
none.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree with it, but there will be people who will argue against that.
Yeah, I get it. And I'm not going to change everybody's minds. I'm only one person out here in the street talking to people, trying to change people's opinions. I think when you're young, you're taught an arbitrary line. So you're taught to love cats and dogs.
You're sort of
and
conformed.
societal, yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's habit, tradition, convenience, and taste. So you're taught by society that dogs and cats, they matter.
Yeah.
If somebody hurts a horse or shoots a rambi or shoots a lion, you're supposed to get upset, right?
Yeah.
These other animals that feel pain and suffer in exactly the same way, you're taught not to think about them at all. They're food products. They're just commodities.
Yeah.
And you go through your entire life, or most people do, just go through the whole life thinking of these animals as the product they pick up in the supermarket without thinking about it.
Yeah.
I've done it too. But when you think about them as individuals from the victim's perspective, well then, what's the difference? Because what would be the justification in eating a pig and not eating a dog? Many countries do eat dogs, so really, what's the difference? Other than what you've been taught to believe?
Well, I've noticed that some supermarkets have taken the initiative of putting customized names on top of like the meat, where they'd give the slice of meat like a sirloin, like a name, like Daphne or something, or Mary. I don't know. I think when people see it that way, it sort of warps their perspective and they get confused.
Most supermarkets now have, I'm going to ask you your age and be really rude. What age are you? Age bracket? So you're quite young. Yeah. But if you go into the supermarket, you'll have seen the vegan sections of food now. At the end of the meat aisle, there's a vegan
it's
meat.
It's in high demand lately. Yeah. It's really taken a rising.
Well, the reason for that is because there's loads of information available now that wasn't 20 years ago. When I was your age, I'm 55 by the way, there was no internet. So I loved animals all my life, but I didn't have the information available that I could just eat something else. And I was taught that I had to eat animals for protein, and I had to drink dairy milk for... What do you drink dairy milk for?
Coffee.
No, but what do you get specifically? What are we taught?
Mostly calcium and the other...
Yeah, but cows are not fonts of calcium, man. They have calcium in their milk because they eat... Calcium's a mineral from the ground. And that's exactly right. Yeah. It's for their... Dairy milk's for baby cows.
Yeah.
So they have to be either pregnant or have given birth, so they're kept perpetually pregnant. As soon as the calves are born, the calves are taken away from them.
Yeah.
Do you know what happens to baby boys?
Yeah, they're braised and they're grazed.
Some of them. Some of them.
Some of them are used for grazing. Some of them go to cattle farms. Some of them go to dairy farms. And
Well, the baby boys don't produce any milk.
no,
So it's
they're
like
just
4
used for
things will happen to them. Finishing is the one you're talking about, where they're thrown into a field for a few months in the summertime. They grow a bit, sent to market for cheap meat products.
Yeah.
Some of them are killed at 10 days old. They go to market straight away. The farmers don't even bother. Particularly in the wintertime, they don't want to buy grain for them to keep them fed.
Yeah.
So they're generally a waste product. Some of them are sold to the veal industry. So they're taken to market at 10 or 14 days old. Then they go down to Cork, they go onto a ship and they go over to North African countries or Belgium or the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And they stand in a veal pen with a chain around their neck for 18 weeks. And then they're brought out of that pen and hung upside down and have their throat cut. And then they're sold in a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
Well, the fourth one is they're taken to somewhere on the farm, a dark corner in the farm. And many farmers will just shoot them on the day they're born because they don't want to pay for them at all.
Yeah.
Some will just hit them over the head with a spade or a shovel on the day they're born. 120 to 150,000 in the UK last year were killed on the day they're born. So I think that's cruel.
Yeah.
And if you can go into the supermarket and buy like a myriad of plant-based milks or Starbucks or Nero or any of these places and buy plant-based milk, well then what's the more ethical choice there, would you say? Is that a fair question?
Ethically, maybe plant-based products, but then again, there is a supply and demand for, meat-based goods and dairy products. I mean, people aren't going to change.
People are changing.
The majority of people are set in their ways, I believe.
I agree with you, but I mean,
it is this country. People here are very narrow-minded.
I agree with that too, but that doesn't mean to say, and don't take this because I'm not here to judge anybody,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean to say that you personally have to hide behind the collective. You can make your own choice.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay to say, well, everybody, that's what happened in the Second World War. Everybody in Germany went, well, everybody else is doing it, I'm just going to play along. But with this particular case, you can abstain from animal products and say, well, I'm not going to pay for it. I'm not cool with animals being harmed. I love animals. I'd never hurt them myself, and I'm not going to buy the products because when I buy the products, I'm literally paying people to do things to animals I would never do myself. Yeah. What do you think of that?
Well, we are a group of individuals, and we are, we're all able to make our own decisions and make up our own minds and speak what we believe to be true of ourselves. But I don't know.
Okay,
maybe over another few years or so, you will see another incline and maybe a decrease in meat-based products.
Well, it's definitely on the decline already, and there's an incline in vegan products. But let me answer you that personal choice thing. You were saying everybody's individuals and stuff. Personal choice is okay if there's no victim involved. It's my choice to go to the beach, or it's my choice to have this job or go to school or whatever I want to do. But when there's a victim involved, so it might be, and don't take this the wrong way, it might be my choice to punch you in the face right now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that because that's going to cause you pain, probably break your nose. So I'm not going to do that. So when you're talking about personal choice, you've forgotten about the victim because you're taking away their personal choice, which would be to live pain-free and without suffering and just to live their life,
Well, people choose. If they can't say it, then, it doesn't hurt them. But it's all sort of swept under the rug in a sense where, people just overlook what's going on and think
many people don't know. Many people have no idea.
With like a national demographic of, people, large-bodied groups who, sort of advertise what's going on and make people more aware, then people do sort of question.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that is.
I'm making wee videos and putting them on YouTube, talking to people, and I may only be affecting one person at a time, or I may not affect them at all. What they do after they leave me and after what I tell them is completely up to them. I can't make anybody do anything. Yeah. But we're up against massive industries with a massive amount of money. Every corner you turn, there's a billboard with McDonald's or KFC on it.
Oh, of course.
So you're infused with that your entire life. And you're taught to believe that it's okay, and everybody else is doing it. I'm not okay with gassing pigs. I am definitely not okay with people shooting baby calves in the head for a day old. I'm not okay with people exploiting the females for 4 or 5 years and then sending them to the slaughterhouse. Chickens kept in cages. The whole industry stinks from top to bottom when you genuinely think about it.
Yeah.
And if it was dogs and cats and horses, everybody would be up in arms about it. But the pigs that suffer and the chickens that suffer are individuals themselves and suffer in the same way that any dog can, That's how I see it.
Although the only problem I do have is that, right, slaughterhouses are going on and there's breeding farms, but it's the farms that would, sort of keep things off the record, the treatment, the welfare. I mean, you've got the cages and whatnot, but it's the treatment going on in the actual sort of farms.
Well,
the industrialized.
the problem is, and I'm not anti-farmer, by the way. I've been on farms and I've seen factory farms and small local farms, and they're pretty much all the same.
Yeah.
They all operate as, they'll tell you they'll look after their animals, and the wee farmer up the road's kind of his animals.
They put on a good front.
Yes. But it's a money-making industry at the end of the day.
Course, yeah.
So they spend the minimal amount of money they can to get the animals to a place where they can exploit them for money.
It's a big ship, and we're really just footnotes on a balance sheet.
I agree with you, but like I said, it's a bit like racism or sexism or any of those things. If you're not cool with it, you don't have to take part in it, And if you're not cool with people, we think of two separate entities, animal use and animal abuse.
Yeah.
Well, animal use is abuse, especially on farms, because we're impregnating them, we're taking their children away from them, and then ultimately at the end of the day we kill them if they don't already die on the farm because of the conditions. Chickens especially, many of them die every single day because they just can't take the conditions that they're being kept in, so that's wrong. I think in your heart that's wrong.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to be part of that. You can just buy the alternatives. You could just buy a plant-based milk and put that in your cereal, oat milk in your coffee.
But the way I see it is, if I'm just one person, go and buy an alternative milk, it's not going to make it go away. It's not going to make the farming go away.
It's not going to make farming go away. But let me tell you this. So about 10 years ago, there was 600,000 vegans in the UK.
Okay.
There's now 3.5 million at the last survey. So that's an exponential rise. So every single person that doesn't buy an animal product, you're helping animals indirectly, because generally the average person eats 120 to 150 animals in a year, would you believe?
Yeah.
So if you remove that yourself from that, you've saved 150 animals that don't have to suffer because of you, and you're not paying something. Let me put it this way, the way I feel about it. I feel right about it because in my heart, I can go to bed at night and know that I am not paying into a system that tortures and persecutes and abuses animals. What everybody else does, I have no effect other than speaking to people on the street and doing YouTube videos and doing talks and whatever. But I know I'm good with it because I go to my bed at night. I would never hurt an animal, and I'm not going to pay other people to do it too. What do you think about that line of thinking?
I mean, you do have a clear conscience, as it sounds, but I think what you believe in, what you're doing, and you're sticking to that commitment is probably really good. It's probably the best thing you could do. If you stand strong in what you believe in, then
that's all I can do, man. That's all I can do.
You can really do.
And I'm just asking you. I mean, I'll tell you one more thing before you go. You go to McDonald's now. You can buy a McPlant for the same price. You go to KFC. You can buy vegan chicken nuggets that apparently taste exactly the same.
What do you think about plant-based products that taste like meat? What do you think about that?
Don't really care. I didn't stop eating meat because of the taste. I liked the taste of some products when I was young. Some I didn't, some I did, like everything else. But I mean, if it tastes the same, then what's the argument? It's not about taste, it's about persecution, and it's about harming animals. So if I can recreate the same taste and the same texture by using plants and an animal doesn't have to suffer, then I don't see the problem at all.
Well, that is true. A lot of people go for the vegan alternatives because maybe dietary complications, stuff like that. You've got,
Well, I think it's better for human health as well, if you wanted to get into that. I tend not to think about it, but I mean, animal products they're a package deal, so they're coming with saturated fat and cholesterol, the antibiotics that they feed the animals.
Even the bacon now, it's filled with brine, just as a preservative.
Yeah.
Sausages as well. They're not 100% meat anymore. They're filled with water.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, even chicken the same. So
Oh,
they pump
yeah.
water into the breast to make it swell so that it looks bigger when you're buying it in the supermarket. So, I mean, I'm not saying all vegan products are healthy,
Oh yeah.
but it's a healthier lifestyle, particularly if you eat more plants, vegetables, fruits. Obviously, we all know that already.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, think it over.
Think it over.
And just on the taste thing, one last question before you go. What do you value more if there even was a taste difference? A small taste difference or an animal's life? What's more important?
Probably an animal's life. But then again, I mean, I'm a consumer. I buy it and I don't think any more of it. Sometimes, you know, like now, you're thinking about it, and there have been times before. But honestly, I think I'm just going to go on the way that I have been doing my whole life.
Well, man, I'm only having a conversation with you in the street, and I don't expect you to turn around to me now and say, "You can reach me that water." You're a legend, thank you. I don't expect somebody on the street that I'm having a conversation with to say, "Oh, I'm just going to go vegan on the spot." Like,
Instantaneously.
I'm only here. Let me tell you something.
Good.
Just got a dry throat. I'm not sick or anything like that. Yeah, I don't expect somebody to change on the spot.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I'm only here to plant seeds with people, make you think about it, make you think about your choices. But I will say to you, and this sounds judgmental, I honestly, I'm just speaking for the animals, and I'm not judging anybody because I pay for it. When you buy the product, every time you buy one of those products, you're literally paying for an animal to suffer terribly. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
So just give that a thought, and I'm going to give you a card before you go.
That's all right. What's your
I'll give it to you now, man.
Will I be on?
What's your name? Yeah.
Adam.
Adam, you're a very, well, I want to say this without being ageist. For 18 years old, man, you're a very smart lad. So I appreciate you stopping.
Well, I mean, I like to think that I'm tuned in. I like to know what's going on. I don't want to be like another sheep in a sense, where you just
that's
sort of
it,
follow
man.
the
Everybody's a
crowd.
collective here, but we're individuals within a collective.
Oh yes.
You know, society is saying, like my sign says, everybody probably disagrees with that, but with their actions, they're agreeing with it because they're paying for it. You know.
Yeah.
So there's the card. Oh,
Although whenever you advertise a sign like that, people are, it's going to, their morals, they're going to start to question their own morals, and then that's sort of what happened to me. Like, I knew what this was when I walked past.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, and a big advertising.
Yeah.
To come and.
It's not something you see
Converse
every
with
day.
you.
It's not something you see every day. Some people get it, some people don't. Some people get upset by it, and then when I point out that, well, if you think kicking a dog's bad, why is it okay to stab a pig in the neck or throw them in the gas chamber? And then they're like, oh, some people will walk away, some people will talk to me. I appreciate the people who stop and talk. So here, your card, bring the card out again, Mr. Thing. See the top one here, the best speech you'll ever hear?
Yeah.
Guy called Gary Yourofsky, starts with a Y, giving university lectures in America. Sounds boring, but it's literally the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
40 minutes, free to watch on YouTube. He's a much better speaker than me, and if I've pushed you a little bit towards maybe making cruelty-free choices, watch that guy for 40 minutes sometime and see what you think. What did you say your name was again?
Adam.
Adam. I will definitely put this on YouTube, so
alright.
should be up within the next week or so. My YouTube links and stuff are at the bottom there. I
I'll check
appreciate
it
it,
out.
man.
What's up? Good luck.
Thanks for getting
Keep
my water
doing
for
what
me.
you're
All right, bro. Have a good day.